Roxo Media House.
Matthew cut. Well defended by Jacoby Coles. TCU running again. 4-on-2. All the way to the basket and the lay-in from Emmanuel Miller. Timeout away.
State of the Frogs with Coach Jamie Dixon. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex, brought to you by Autobahn Porsche. Coach, thanks for being here with us today. We're going to start out talking about the non-conference schedule and how the team did well. Started off 11-2, did a great job. I know coaches may want to go, 13-0, but, the team did a great job. And can you talk about just what do you think that was the takeaway from the non-conference schedule?
Well, I mean, we've got 2 road wins. We've got some neutral court wins, so those are positives. Not a lot of teams have those. Very few. I don't think anybody in our league has 2 road wins and a couple non-neutral court wins. 11 games, really, we took care of things, and we won by good margins from almost every one, so that's important in the net. But the 2 games against the 2 very strong opponents, we didn't get done, and those stick out to me a little bit. But we weren't good enough at that point. So going forward here, we hopefully have learned that, use that to be better, to learn from, and as we go into conference play. And I believe that. I believe we've gotten better defensively, especially. Offensively, we've had our moments. Certainly transition offense is good, very good, best in the country. And we've got to be better in the half court. Decision-making has got to improve. Shot selection. As Coach Thibodeau, I read something on him recently. It really just comes down to shot selection. Who takes better shots? Who take better shots on offense and make them take tougher shots on defense? And that's really what we're working on.
You talk about shot selection and you talk about shooting, but with the premise of your concept is about rebounding, defense, and transition, and it seems that the team has done a great job with that. Yeah,
I mean, the numbers are good, and we should. When we were playing those home games, and we built up some good numbers in that. And so, yes, to some degree, we're doing a pretty good job of that. We obviously play fast, and our tempo is a big part of that as well, so there's some extra possessions in there. But simply put, I think decision-making in transition as well as in the half court can be better, and decision-making can be forced in the pass, can be forced in the shot, and that's what we've got to recognize where there's improvement to be made. But, we're playing 5 new players. We've got some guys that haven't played a lot of Big 12 basketball, and we've got some improvement to make, and I know our guys are going to do it because they're good kids, they're working hard, and we've progressed on the defensive end, so we'll continue to progress offensively.
Sounds good. Well, we'll take a break. We'll be back. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex. We'll be back with a student question.
Okay.
And we'll find out what the student has to ask Coach Dixon when State of the Frog continues.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
State of the Frogs continue with Coach Jamie Dixon. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex. We're back, and we have a student question from Brian.
Hi, my name is Brian Hill. I'm the coordinator at the ID Center here on campus. So I have a question for you, Coach Dixon. You took your team to Europe in the fall. What was the best thing about that trip for you?
Well, you're asking me, right? So I'm going to tell you what my favorite part of the trip was. I think it was great for the players. I know they were excited about it. France and Paris, and then London, England as well. So you can ask them about their part. But for me personally, it was my 2 children came along on the trip. My wife, their mom, had to stay behind and take care of her parents who live with us now in Fort Worth. They moved from Hawaii, so so it was really the first time I know that we probably just did something ourselves. And so Mike, Shannon, and Jack went on the trip with us and were around the team and the entire time. And so that was fun. I mean, they're 21 and 19, so they're older. But it was really fun for me just to have us kind of our own little little trip as well for 10 days. And I know the players had a great time, so that was special for me too as well. And we went to London and we went to Paris. So, I mean, those are, dream destinations that our guys got to see, and none of our guys had ever been there before. So it covered a lot of special things for me.
That's good because you see the team went to London, went to Paris, and then went to Hawaii as well, as a season for the Christmas tournament.
Yeah.
And, back when I played, we went to Australia and played in there. So, the program has, been going overseas for a while, and it's really good for the program for guys to be able to see things, to be able to go overseas. I know I enjoyed it. And as you said, with the guys enjoyed it. Can you talk about that a little bit just as far as the program goes?
Well, COVID kind of put us behind a couple of years. We'd gone to Australia a couple of years back, 6 years back, I guess it was, and then COVID kind of held us back a couple of years. And so, but we went to Toronto this year as well, and Washington, D.C. to play Georgetown. So I've talked about that as far as I'm a pretty good travel agent. We've got to some good spots. They were excited about going, and it's something that we talked about, and I just felt we had to do it this year. And it wasn't ideal. A couple of guys, Jameer didn't get there till right before, and a couple other things came into play. But we'd put it off for a couple of years because of the situation, and so they were certainly excited about it. They enjoyed it. We had fun. Our administration, our people, our supporters, Frog Club, that helped us with that part of it. I can't thank them enough for the support to go and do that. And it was an amazing trip, and they had fun. And I think in some ways we did a good job too of the basketball part of it, but making it fun at the end. Because now we're practicing eight weeks prior to that.
Right.
You've got some extra practices that you can throw in there during that time as well. So so we really got the basketball part of it. On the trip, it was more about the 4 games, but we won them by big margins, which it's hard to put together opponents to play against that time of the year in those countries. And so they got to enjoy, I think, the cities as best we could in those situations. And we were right in the heart of the Paris and the heart of London too. So it was really good to see. We had some great tours. The highlight for me as far as culturally was the Winston Churchill Museum.
Okay.
That was I did that with my kids, so that was fun.
Good. Well, speaking of highlights, we'll have coming up one of the highlight reels of the big man, Ernest Udeh, will be coming back speaking to us when State of the Frog continues. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex, with Coach Jamie Dixon.
Simply the best barbecue in Fort Worth. Dine in, catering, or drive-through. 2900 Montgomery, just off I-30. Remember, the best barbecue in Fort Worth is at Railhead Smokehouse.
Welcome back to State of the Frogs with Jamie Dixon. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex, and we have a new addition to the Frogs with Ernest Udeh Jr. coming in. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Of course.
Yeah. So we're coming into, conference play, but before we talk about that, we just want to talk about your role and talking about how you started the season and you've been improving so much as you see the progression of the season. How do you feel so far about your play and then just moving forward?
I would definitely say, just getting over that hump of, just my role being very different from what it was last year compared to this year. Still getting the feel of everything and being in that specific role. And you just know, as far as my improvement goes, I just know that's something that's just going to steadily keep growing. And I just have to trust the process with it all.
So in trusting the process, basically coming off the bench in Kansas last season into a starting role this season, what's been the biggest adjustment you would say for yourself in that role?
I would say understanding the responsibility that comes with it. Being in that starting position, there's a lot expected of you, and I think that takes something that, is less physical and more mental. Just understanding that coaches, what they want from me is something that I have to execute day in and day out. So
yeah, I would say also in starting, I feel like you haven't lost the basketball tip yet, in starting the game.
Yep.
So I'm going to hold you to that going
okay.
forward.
Yes, sir.
So And moving on to Kansas, going back home to, your former team, that's got to be pretty exciting, and starting Big 12. So it's a lot of emotions going into that game. How do you feel about going back home, and what can we expect from you in going back to Kansas?
It's a great feeling. Everyone knows the reputation of Allen Fieldhouse, and just to obviously be on one side of it and not to be on the other side going back, that's something that I'm really excited for myself to experience. And, also I got to understand at the end of the day, it's a basketball game, in between those lines, all the extra stuff is cut out. And just for me personally, my energy is going to be up all game. Like I said, it's something I'm very excited for, especially to get a win over there. So, man, I just can't wait.
Yeah, good. Well, we wish you the best of luck in going to Kansas. And we will be back with Coach Dixon, and we will talk about Kansas and what we can expect in the first game of the conference play when the State of the Frog continues. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex.
We're lucky to have a collective that's as strong and as powerful as the Flying T Club. It's a big deal for us. It is a game changer. I would just encourage any fans out there to support it. Everyone asks me, what's the biggest priority? And I say, NIL is big. Please jump on board, show these student athletes how much they mean to you. The thing about NIL is I think there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and the Flying T Clubs do it the right way. Let's keep winning. Join the Flying T Club today.
We'd like to thank the big man, Ernest Udeh, for talking with us, and we're back at State of the Frogs with Coach Jamie Dixon. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex, and now we're going to talk, Coach, about coming up the Big 12, getting ready to start, and big game, starting off with number 2 Kansas going on the road, and that is an important game for the guys, an important game to make a statement for the Big 12 and starting off. Can you talk about the major points you think in moving forward and going to Kansas?
Well, obviously, we played up there last year and had the great win. I'm sure that's why TV's got it. CBS, first game of the year. And I talked to Coach Raftery yesterday, and he's going to be there calling the game. So it's a big day. It's a big game. It's obviously first game there for the Big 12. And but last year was last year. This year is 2 different teams. We've got to be good for Ernest. It's a big game. Obviously, playing there and coming off the big game with 18 rebounds, which is almost half of what he got rebounds all last year playing for Kansas. So kind of interesting, but it's simply comes. We got to get, as I talked about, shot selection. We've got to get more shots up, better shots than they do, and that comes down to defending, and that comes down to offensive execution. So they're I think they're a better defensive team than they've been in the past. They've always been amongst the best in the country offensively. So they're good. They're really good, obviously, and that's why they're 2. And that's it's obviously a tough place to play, but we're excited about going up the opportunity. It's we're playing good. I hope we're at our best, and we've got to withstand some runs. We know that, and have some runs of our own.
Right, and with Kansas, they have new players as well, and along the Big 12, amongst all the teams that have new players coming in. So, but TCU matches up really well with Kansas and amongst other teams in the Big 12.
Well, we've got good size. I think we have good versatility. I think, we've had some guys out for some games, and we've kind of battled some things all year long. But I think with our 10 guys, I say that, and we've got 3 guys redshirting, scholarship guys now, that we have the versatility to move some guys around, play different spots. I mean, Emmanuel plays the 3, the 4 has played some 2. We could actually play him at some 5. 2. Mike is playing different spots too as well. So we could play. Xavier played the 4 last game. We've got the guards that can play here. So we have the versatility, but doesn't make us better. That's what that we say. And we have some balance too offensively, and but we got to use that to our advantage. I think at times we are balance or freedom that we give and it can become detrimental to us in as far as shot selection and decision making, and that's where we've got to be have that freedom, but also use it in the right way. We've got to get good shots up, and we can't have any wasted possessions, and that's been a little bit of a challenge for us.
Okay. Man, well, we wish you all the best in moving forward in the Big 12, and good luck against Kansas on Saturday. This has been State of the Frogs with Coach Jamie Dixon. I've been your host, Bingo Merriex, and this is the first episode, and we will have more episodes to come in a few weeks.
Roxo Media House.